See, if I just want to do an ASMR stream where it's called Moist Tube, and
Please
when
don't
I
ever
just-
do that.
I just sit there and I talk about things that are moist.
As
Like
long
really
as it's
close
not
to
your
campfire, I'm
tube,
like,
that's fine, I think.
cake is moist.
I will literally pay you money to not do that.
Hello and welcome to episode 64 of the Misanthropod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
I'm also joined by Dramad. Say hello.
Hello.
How are you lovely gents today?
I am doing okay. I've only just woken up, but everything is fine. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm well, comparatively. No, I'm doing well. Snipe, how are you?
I am relatively fine in the way that one day the heat death of the universe will extinguish all human accomplishments and make me happy. Thank you for asking.
All right then. Sure.
I'm going to take that and put it in the big bucket of problems that we can't deal with right now.
Okay. But the thing is, it made me feel better because you asked me how I am and I felt you genuinely cared.
Ah, good, I'm glad. And I hope everyone listening is well too.
Yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay. And if you're not, I hope we can take your mind off whatever's ailing you, or just make you laugh, or make you angry because we say something like, I don't know, Darkwing Duck is better than Batman, which is objectively true.
That is just objectively true. Why would anyone be angry about that?
Yeah, also,
He is the
Count
terror.
Duckula wasn't very good.
He is the terror that flaps in the night.
It's time for us to all get dangerous.
Yes. The worst part is that I literally have in front of me a Darkwing Duck mug, which is presumably why Snipe picked Darkwing Duck. And because it's early enough to remember his catchphrase, I had to look at it because it's written on the mug.
God damn it.
I was like, oh yeah, it is I am the terror that flaps in the night.
It is, because he's basically the Shadow, which
He is.
inspired Batman.
Yeah.
So he actually meets the Shadow in a comic once, and he's like, oh my god, I'm such a big fan, and then the Shadow just shoots him a lot.
Checks out,
Because
yeah.
the Shadow does not give a fuck. The Shadow's so great.
Good.
Anyway, Wiblet, Wibbo, what you been up to?
Being disappointed in all those variants of my name.
Okay, but like, what else is new?
Honestly, not that much. Lots of little things.
Moo.
But not that much. I 100%ed the Surge, because that's
I'm
the
honestly,
thing.
no offense, I'm surprised you didn't do that already.
Well, 100%ing, like, going through and doing every achievement of a game is generally pretty difficult, especially something like the Surge that, you know, is, like, Souls-like in its construction.
That's fair.
And does involve getting most of the way through New Game Plus in order to get one of the final items for it. So, yeah, that's the thing.
I'm
what I
just
did.
saying, like, I'm not saying that, oh, I'm surprised you didn't do it already because it was easy. I'm saying I'm surprised you didn't do it already because you play it a lot. And you play hard.
In fairness,
Be
in my
unfair.
defense, I have only played it for like 60 hours, which for that sort of game isn't that long. So, yeah, but I did that anyway, which did involve doing all of the achievements for the DLC, which means
The
that...
Cowboy DLC.
Yeah, the cowboy
Which is
one.
amazing.
Which means that on our Steam profile right now, I set it up a while ago, so it shows the rarest achievements that we've got as like the top thing, because I thought that was fun. And so now it's just all the Surge's DLC stuff, because like I think the achievements from that the most people have is like 0.2%, because fuck all people have bought it who played the game apparently.
Yeah, no.
But so I did that. I've also played a bunch more Dead Cells, which
That's a good game.
I continue to be not very good at, but I've had an occasional decent run and like fought the first proper boss. Because it turns out the little mini bosses that I fought were indeed just mini bosses. And so I've actually beaten the first proper boss in the game, and seen a lot more of the areas in it, and it continues to be quite good.
Oh.
and unlocked a bunch more things. So that's
So
cool.
you get all the jars filling up with pretties.
My jars are filling up with various unknowable items. That is true.
That's, yeah.
How many
We've
fluids are in your jars? Unknown fluids.
Everything is in there is stored within fluids.
Okay, good.
It's all solid stored in fluids.
So yeah,
But don't ask about them because holy hell.
don't ask about my solids stored in fluids. We also played the horror game. Well, 2 horror games actually. We played Paratopic,
Paratopic, yeah. That's a trip.
which was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Looks like a PS1.
Is this the
era
one where it
sort of
looks like it's
graphics.
running in about 12 by 14 resolution?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
And I don't
It's,
say that as an insult, that's the design aesthetic they're going for, and that's fine.
Yeah, no,
But
exactly.
it's just, you can definitely count the pixels on the textures.
Absolutely, you can.
It's a Lynchian horror game nightmare. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game.
So it's not without flaws. Like, it does have a couple of moments, like, when you're driving, and it just lasts a little too long.
You can accelerate during that time, apparently. I saw it mentioned in the achievements, and I just apparently never noticed the button that does that.
Well, I don't think you or anyone else has ever noticed that you can do that, so...
I mean, I don't know how much it affects it, if it makes it faster or not, but...
maybe it makes your vroom vroom mobile a bit noisier.
Okay.
What?
Um,
Don't bully me because you haven't slept long enough.
you said making my brum brum vehicle
No, I said...
a bit noisier.
I said vroom vroom.
Vrum vrum, oh, I'm sorry.
What the fuck else have you been playing? Victimize me, you sleepy asshole.
I'm not victimizing you, I am merely commenting on the things that come out your mouth.
This is cyberbullying.
It's absolutely not.
Cyberbullying in real life. That's what that is. I have no idea what that's called, but...
But yes, Paratopic is quite good. One thing that doesn't 100% come across from the video, or indeed playing the game, is that it's actually from 3 different people's perspectives. That is mentioned on the Steam page, but I try when playing a game like that to not read too much into that stuff, because it can kind of ruin stuff for you. But yeah, it is from 3 distinct perspectives that in hindsight is fairly obvious where those distinctions are for the most part. But when you're playing it blind, you're like, what the fucking Jeff is going off here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's good. I really enjoy it. It also does a really interesting thing of that it waits until the very end of the game to give you all your achievements.
Which I think is
That's
fucking
good.
genius.
Yeah.
So it
Then it doesn't
doesn't...
spoil it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't break immersion by, throwing you upped your gamer score. I know there's no gamer score on Steam, but, and it maintains the immersion like that, which I think is a neat little touch. There is also the game Immure that we played a demo of, but it was enough to make a full video out of, so we did, which is a short little... Well, the demo's short anyway. A horror game that's, I guess, is ostensibly sort of a adventure game.
I'd say it's kind of like you've got an inventory, you've got to solve puzzles. It's basically kind of a point-and-click adventure game, but with shooting, and, well, I say shooting. There's, you wouldn't call it combat, you'd call it basic, like, you're at the end of your tether, the self-defense maneuvers, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, you get a trapezohedron, and it can, like, flash at things and stun them while you basically either, stab them and kill them, or, shoot them and get away.
Yeah. It's sort of a 2.5D thing in the way that it is, 3D backgrounds, but your character is 2D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really interesting aesthetically. Matt will have no idea what we're talking about because this is something that we've done for a video, but hasn't gone up at the time we're recording this.
Because we're recording a day early.
Yes. And I have not yet edited.
I edited some.
You're editing it. 'Cause I'm just a bit burnt out on editing Sniping with Plays, to be quite frank.
That's fair.
I need some time.
So if the quality of editing in Sniping with Plays just drops dramatically and suddenly there's vuvuzelas everywhere.
I was about to say, I won't notice the quality drop probably. I will notice the ridiculous, I don't even know what you're going to put into it yet, but there'll be something that Wib will definitely not allow and you're going to put in.
Yeah, like, that's usually, like, anytime he comes to me and asks me how to edit something, like, that's where you know he fucked up. And he thinks that my style of editing humor, and I'm not talking like, oh, I'm putting these pieces together, I mean like editing jokes. When he asks me what editing jokes I'd put in somewhere, you know it's gonna get fucky. I am the Silent Hill of editing.
Well, I think it's safe to say
You're
that I might be doing a pass over it to maintain afterwards.
Please don't.
To maintain.
I'm just gonna, like, you'll kill like a big bad, and then it'll be like that really like horribly fragmented GIF of Snoop Dogg doing the dance, and then there's gonna be Vuvuzelas, and there's gonna be sample text, and Mom, get the camera.
You act like I haven't put in sample text and Snoop Dogg jokes in videos before.
Okay, that's off the top of my head, but you know I could just randomly decide to turn the frame upside down because, oh, I'm lol so random.
Again, I've literally done that.
Anyway, I'm sure you'll think of something.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think it's something.
Imure is quite good. The demo actually has like a pay what you want thing on it. I think.
So you can like just download it for free, or you can pay like $1, I think.
Because we chucked them a couple of dollars because we're making a video out of it, so.
Oh, yeah, you gotta support the indies.
We thought that was only fair. But it's quite good, and even the demo is a fair amount of content to play through. Can recommend giving it a shot.
Yeah,
you won't
no,
see the
definitely.
entire thing in our video because we've been doing a couple, some short horror games recently. We have had the intentional thing of leaving out certain things so we don't entirely spoil the game. So you're not getting everything or every elaborate moment in the last few videos because we want you to play those games because they're good. Or at least interesting and are worth playing. So, yeah.
Yeah, can't recommend it. It's on Kickstarter now, apparently. It says so on the title screen.
Yeah, I haven't seen how well they're doing. But yeah, they are on Kickstarter apparently. And so if you like the look of it, then, check that out.
Yeah.
What else? One of the reasons why I haven't really done much is because Next Codex Compliant should be out by the time you listen to this.
Ooh, nice.
So that should be good. On the very first issue of White Dwarf from the 70s.
Awesome.
Old school.
Which is just full of like old D&D stuff, which is interesting. Especially because that's back before Advanced Dungeons and Dragons came out. So it's the version of D&D no one ever speaks about. Because it's actually, I actually realise normally when you hear people talking about old school D&D, it's D&D they're
which is
talking
second
about.
edition.
Yeah, because didn't the first version, it didn't have any, like, skill checks or anything really out of combat things. It was just, like, basic combat mechanics, and that was it.
Well, it
was that right?
I think original D&D was basically town, dungeon. That was it.
Well, it was fundamentally a war game. Like it even says so on the box. Like
Yeah.
it was the whole sort of RP aspect of it, though an element of it was mitigated greatly.
I was talking to you about it. I was like, yeah, it's like John Carmack talking about story. It's basically that. It's like, yeah, it's like story in a porno, story in a game. It's like it's expected to be there, but no one really gives a crap that it's there. Which, Mr. Carmack, respectfully, fucking wrong.
You are objectively
You're
wrong in this regard,
I don't care
Carmack.
if you're a fucking prodigy. Fucking wrong, man.
And there were games with good narratives before 1994.
That, honestly, it was very much like, that was the
Was it
main-
94? Doom came out in 93.
It was 93.
Okay.
That was a big thing with kind of like the 30-year-old gamers, because I was like 6 or something. Yeah, I was like 6 when Doom came out, so it was like all my dad's friends, or like all but one of them were like, we don't need story in a video game. This actively ruins everything. Oh god. And like acting like big silly baby boys because there was story in a video game. Like no one would play. I mean, they all hated Blood 2 because it was terrible, which is fair.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really like it because there's like story and this is FMV6. Oh my god! And like everyone was like, that's dumb. That's actively ruining like my experience.
It's ruining the purity of the
Blood
perfect
2 The Chosen.
the perfect experience that is Blood 2 The Chosen.
Yeah. So I get the kind of like massive standoffish snobbery of, oh no, can't have this.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting because D&D is the opposite of 40k in that D&D started off as a war game and then became a role-playing game, but by just how people played it. Whereas 40k started off as an RPG and then became a war game because of how people played it. Which is an interesting one, especially considering that, Games Workshop kind of got into the business that they're in by being an importer of Dungeons and Dragons. Because originally they just made like wooden board games like Backgammon and shit.
But just go watch the fucking video, guys.
I barely mentioned that, which is why I'm mentioning it here.
Yeah, but watch it anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, watch the video
We work
anyway.
very hard on that stuff.
Watch it. It's like the one series we do that doesn't have the swear words in, so isn't going to get demonetized.
Although I feel that with YouTube, fucking
who
who
knows?
knows? Am I right?
It'll misread something we say and go, oh, by the way, you said naughty bad words in it. And you go, no, I said the word flick. Like, oh, well, that looks a lot like fuck.
And then you're like, and then you point out that YouTube swore at you, and then it bans itself. That's what happened when it went down 8 hours ago.
YouTube demonetized itself.
It demonetized itself, so it just fucking died.
That would make a lot of sense. That's what actually happened.
To be fair, YouTube being what it was, if that was it, I wouldn't even be surprised. I don't think it'd even be funny. You'd just be like, yeah, no, that's... Oof.
It would check out. On a 40k vein, I painted up a couple of Marines. I have painted up a rogue trader chaplain who is the goofiest little boy.
Because he's on our shelf next to a Primaris
Yeah,
Marine, and it just looks preposterous.
Because the next thing I painted was a Primaris Marine, who has who's been modified because it was one of the Conquest miniatures, one of many copies of Conquest issue 1 that we bought.
We needed to get a whole squad.
Yeah, we both wanted a whole squad, so yeah, that's the thing. So I've assembled that using a head from Statuesque Miniatures.
It's a good head.
Because it's a Lady Marine, which will no doubt annoy someone for reasons.
If you're getting mad at that, we don't care.
Really good sculpts, by the way, if you are looking for female heads for your Marines.
Yeah,
Statuesque Miniatures.
I mean, my only
great.
problem with it is that they are metal, but I don't like working with metal at all. I hate working with, I hate it, but like the sculpts are really good.
I just find you have to file down the necks a little bit to make them fit properly.
A bit, so watch out for that. But otherwise, like, they are fantastic.
Like,
I'm using some for my Primaris as well.
Yeah, they look great. But yes, I painted up a Primaris as well in my my made up chapter that I've been working on, the Silver ones, who actually have a name now. They're the Azure. I was going to say Azure Wardens, but no, they're not. They're the Argent Wardens.
That's pretty cool.
So they actually have a name now. Because I looked it up and it turns out Argent means silver. Like, okay, good.
Argent Energy. Weaponizing demons for a greater tomorrow.
But
is that what your guys are doing?
No, they're not.
Good.
No. They just still happen to be silver.
Because that would do a heresy.
But yeah, the Rogue Trader Chaplain comes up to my Primaris' stomach.
He's so tiny.
Which is just hilarious. Like, he's small even compared to the 3rd edition Marines that the rest of my things are made of.
He's an adorable boy.
The only thing he looks like the right scale next to is the Rogue Trader Dreadnought I also have in the army.
Because you're a fucking hipster.
I don't know if you noticed, but that army I'm making is a fucking mess. Like,
it is a massive, like, blender of eras.
I've been trying to actually put it together from, like, different eras, so I think the only era that it's missing something from is I don't think I've got anything from 4th edition. Because I've got a couple of Rogue Trader models, I've got a Chaplain from 2nd, the bulk of my Marines come from 3rd.
Yep.
The Death Company that I've got, I think those sculpts came out in 5th. I'm not sure about 6th, actually. I might be missing something in 6th.
I've got to ask, just putting you off. I know that you have some Space Crusade miniatures.
Oh, yes, I do.
Are any of those going in your army? Because I think
one
of them should.
One's going in there as well, yeah.
Excellent.
I've got, like, some of the Horus Heresy stuff.
Cool.
Like, bits in there, which came from around 7th, I think that was released originally.
I believe you.
And then, of course, I've got
Primaris.
So yeah, I've got, like, I was quite happy to, like, I've sort of inadvertently started doing this, but, like, I was like, no, I'm doing this now. I have to create an army that's, like, a mix of generations and stuff.
It's a clusterfuck.
It's a clusterfuck, but it's my clusterfuck.
It's beautiful, and I love it. Because, like, we're going to be playing at the game store, and someone's going to walk past, stop, back up, and go, is that a fucking rogue trader chaplain? And you'll be like, yeah.
It fucking is.
Yeah, it is. And they're gonna be like, they're gonna pick it up and be like, why? It's great, but why?
Actually, I will say, compared to a lot of the metal sculpts of that era, the chaplain's actually pretty good. It's nearly symmetrical.
Ooh.
Like the armor. Like
That's actually pretty good.
which you can't guarantee.
To be fair, it must have been hard as balls back
Oh,
then.
yeah,
It was Wild West of that kind of shit. Damn.
They manually did that stuff, so
yeah,
you had to...
My
Yeah.
heart goes out to them.
I also stole the glory from the terrain that you were painting.
You did, yeah.
Um,
Because
of-
I undercoded all the... Oh, shit, where was it from? There was some from...
You've undercoated most of the terrain from Renegade, Kill Team, and the terrain I had from, like, the 3rd edition box set when I
Yeah.
bought it back in the day.
And I did this by hand because we had, like, a load of Abed and Black, like, pots knocking around because we had, like, a massive stack of Conquest Episode 1.
Episode one.
That's it, yeah. Like, Magazine 1. And I was just like... Well, it's probably going to dry up if I don't use it, and plus, you know, it's a good mindless thing to do. So I sat there and it took me 3 days, and I used up 3 whole pots of Abaddon Black. Still got a few, because, like, Wib went out and bought another one because he thought he was running low, but wasn't, so yay, I got more to waste on terrain. And
Yeah.
then you came in, and then you dry brushed it all and did the minor details, and you were like, yeah, look, I painted terrain, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, I did the thing that doesn't actually take very long.
Yes, you did.
But I did all the final touches, which does mean that, yeah, shockingly, we actually have some painted terrain. Which, you know, is
You're welcome.
something which I've never had in my life before.
I can tell because I've just from when you were a kid, I undercoated all that shit too.
Yeah. We also painted the stuff from, like, back in 1998, 99. Painted that to match the Kill Team stuff, so
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting. Like, they almost look like they belong together now, which is
Unlike your
fun.
army.
Unlike my army, which is a fucking mess.
With your fucking Rogue Trader Dreadnought and fucking God knows what. Looks
Yeah,
like
but-
an egg with legs.
Yeah, but it's an aesthetic.
It looks like Mr. Potato Head.
It
It's a grim, dark Mr. Potato Head.
doesn't. No, if you want a grimdark Mr. Potato Head, you want the original Orc Dreadnoughts that were like a Kinder Egg on legs.
Okay, but like, I'm
yeah,
gonna
those
keep
guys are
calling
cool.
yours a Kinder Egg on legs because it makes me happy.
Well, fair enough. Last thing to do, which is also 40k related, I realise, is the book I have most recently read, which was Lucas the Trickster by Josh Reynolds, I think his name
I've
is.
heard it's good.
It's pretty good. I think that came out this year, actually. I think that was one of the things that was released on the same day as the Greg model.
Oh, good old Greg.
And it's pretty good. Gives an interesting perspective on the wolves and makes Lucas into a 3-dimensional character.
Instead of just being that one dickhead.
Yeah, now he's that one dickhead, but like he actually has a reason and a purpose to being a dickhead.
Yeah. So just
So-
flesh him out, made him more 3D than just wolf, 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 dickhead.
Yeah, no, he's actually pretty good. It sort of goes together with a short story that covers his like trials, becoming like after being elevated from being dead on the battlefield.
That's
Well,
how
nearly
most of
dead.
them get, like... Or even if you're dead, it doesn't really matter.
Well, if they can
They'll
bring you
drag
back,
you the fuck back,
yeah,
they don't care.
if they can bring you back to life using their space technology, then the wolves will
Space science!
will save you off the battlefield and turn you into a wolf. And it sort of covers
But
in
then
the
they'll be like, psych, and dump you in the middle of the fucking woods.
yeah, but there's a short story covering that era of Lucas in the Black Library Celebration book. That was full of short stories. I think it was also just put out on their website as well. But the short story book is where I read it. So yeah, that's quite a fun little book. It has a few things that slightly bother me, but they're more things that just bother me about GW's writing in general. Like their insistence that, you know, Space Wolves having werewolfy tendencies. And I'm
Oh,
like, please,
God, that annoys
please
me.
don't do that. Please just make them Space Vikings. Space Vikings is cool. Space Werewolves
That's
is
how I play them.
not
I
great.
ignore everything else. I ignore it all.
Also, because the main antagonists are Dark Eldar, interesting glimpses into the Dark Eldar as well, which I always, is always interesting to see. And also it includes characters that are literally in TTS, so I was like, oh, okay, I actually understand those now.
Well, that's good.
that series is what we literally voice characters, and I'm like, I've never heard of this character before.
Good to know.
But that's cool. But yeah, that's sort of me. I've done lots of little things that are kind of vaguely related, but nothing kind of big and interesting. So, I shall now pass over to my dear darling Snipe. What have you been up to?
I thought you were going to say my dear darling drummer Matt, and I was like, yeah, that checks out. That's fine. Me, I've had a rough couple of weeks. I bet everyone's getting fed up of that now, because it just sounds like I'm using the same voice file over and over again. So I've just been like, I finally got to, and I'm sorry to kind of bring the tone down. I'm going to talk about yucky mental health illness bullshit now.
That's fine.
Where, so I stopped playing Divinity Original Sin 2, because I don't know if anyone else gets this, but like, where you'll be really enjoying a game, and then suddenly your brain will convince you that it'll basically make you really anxious about it, so then you stop playing it. And every time it gets longer, the longer you wait and how hard it is, you just can't really go back to it. And that's what I had with Divinity.
I've not personally had that, but I have heard of people who are affected like that as well.
It's like anxiety or like depression-induced, like, severe procrastination, where even things you really want to do, you can't.
Oh, I've had that with things that aren't games, definitely. I don't think I've had it exactly with a game, but yeah, totally get what you mean.
But yeah, no, I've been having... I get that with games, and Divinity is its latest victim. So I decided to go back to it and create a new character, because, the Definitive Edition came out. And I got an upgrade for free, because I already had
What's actually different about the Definitive Edition?
Sir Laura, which is a squirrel that can talk to you that rides a skeleton cat.
I forgot about him, yeah.
Yeah, he's just hanging out on my boat, and I'm like, hey, buddy, and he's like, oh, yes, don't worry, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fucking whatever, because I have Pet Pal, which means you can speak to animals.
Oh, can you not speak to him if you
can't
haven't
speak
got
to him
that?
if you don't have Pet Pal, but if you have, like, Ifan in your group, because I always do, because he's, like, my ultimate, like, murder husband, and he has it too. So, like, I decided to just take Pet Pal, and just, like, yeah, talk to him, and then he was following me all over Fort Joy, which is the starting area, and I was like, dude, fuck off. And I told him to fuck up, because I was like, okay, this is a nice idea, but I don't want him, because, like, he dies permanently. If he dies, he's gone.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I was like, sorry, I don't want to, like, get emotionally invested in you, because you might walk through fire at one point and just die without me noticing. And then, like, I get off and I go on the boat, and, like, he's there, and I'm like, oh, cool, I don't mind him being on the boat the whole time.
Just a weird squirrel to chat to.
Yeah, it's just a squirrel who's on a fucking skeletal cat mount. It's a fucking weird thing. But yeah, I think there's other tweaks. I think
Is that the only difference, and that's what makes it this? What's it called?
Difference.
Definitive Edition.
The Definitive Edition.
Because it has now with no game that doesn't have a talking squirrel can ever be definitive.
No, this is true. It's like, seriously, step it up with Larian Studios, otherwise you just fucking don't get to title your game the Definitive Edition. Just fucking get on their level.
I am actually totally 100% on board the idea of games not counting as definitive unless they have a talking squirrel in it.
Is the skeletal cat mount, is that optional, or is it preferred?
Preferred, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but it is preferred. Okay.
But it does need a talking squirrel.
Despite the literal meaning of the word, it can be definitive without all features.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, the gaming industry being what it is. Yeah.
I am sure somewhere there is an example of a definitive edition that has DLC.
And I bet it's EA published.
Yeah. But I mean, really, it could be basically any of them, and it'd be believable.
Actually, if I was to put money on it, I'd say Warner Brothers. Actually,
yeah, they're horrible, and I bet the game runs like shit as well.
Yeah. Please, in the comments, let us know if there is a definitive edition out there that has DLC. I genuinely want to know.
Yeah, but no, yeah, there's apparently the whole last act, which I never got to, because mental health, was really fucky, like really fucked.
In the original version.
One. And they fixed all up in the Definitive Edition by putting in the squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
The skeletal cat. Obviously, that's what
fixes
That's the
linchpin.
That's the linchpin, yeah. Yeah, so I've been playing that again. I've got a good way through. Been enjoying that a lot. Just like, I like just hanging out with my friends, because it's basically like D&D, but not quite. And I really like that.
There is a very hefty D&D influence to it.
The combat is very D&D. And it's just, very fun, very good. Very much do like. So yeah, I've just been wasting time on that again. I've also, because I streamed it last Thursday with Longfang, because we stream every Thursday night. I'm on Cooperative Thursdays. Check us out, we're amazing. We thought we'd have a chill stream, so we played some Stardew Valley.
Nice.
Which is so fucking adorable and so goddamn dangerous.
Hey, it's coming out on mobiles soon as well.
Oh, Lord,
Apparently.
As if I don't...
Yeah.
At least, as if I didn't need the spare few minutes I have not playing that game.
Yep.
God damn, I've only just got to my first winter, and I love it so much. And I got like a goth scarecrow, and I'm super happy.
Awesome. I still don't have it, and it's upset. It's been on my wish list for like years, and it's just not been on sale for that long, because presumably everyone's happy paying full price.
Yeah. I mean, I've played like 1 billion hours so far, no hyperbole. And I would say it's worth it, even though I don't even remember how much I paid for it, if I paid for it.
It was gifted to us, I believe.
So the person who gifted that to
Yeah.
us, they've got their money's worth, I guess, because I've played 1 billion hours of it. But yeah, no, dude, like, it's great, and I've got a boyfriend.
Oh, you actually have a boyfriend? Because when I played it, I didn't look up how to do anything. I wanted to sometimes
You basically give people gifts.
Yeah, but
and talk to them.
But when I was playing through, I didn't know how any of the mechanics worked. I wanted to try and find things out myself. And one of the things that I never figured out was how to make a fuck with someone.
Okay.
I never quite figured that
I
out.
figured it out, and it's very rewarding.
You looked on the internet how to fuck someone.
I just typed in, how do I fuck this guy? And it was like, hey, give him pizza. I'm like, shit, yeah, man after my own heart. But yeah, no, which person were you romancing?
I was trying to romance. Is it Abigail?
The kind of like the closest thing to a golf girl.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Shock horror.
Shock horror. Hardly surprising.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, Shane and I have been going out for like a couple of seasons now.
Oh no,
It's getting pretty serious.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you poked yet?
Huh?
Have you poked yet?
I don't know, honestly.
Do you not know?
I don't think... I mean, we kissed at a ball game. That was pretty romantic, being surrounded by thousands of screaming people making out.
Well, to be fair, that's literally what getting married entails.
Not being around a bunch of... Well, I haven't asked him to marry me yet. I need a special necklace.
What?
That sounds like if I don't have this necklace, he won't marry me.
Yeah.
But it's basically what they use instead of like a wedding ring.
Oh, okay.
So that's like if you give someone like a mermaid necklace, it means that's like the Stardew Valley way of I want to get married and do a bonk on you.
So you
No
need to
sex
go and-
before marriage, oddly puritanical.
Well, like I say, we made out like in on a ball game, so that's basically like anal. Stardew Valley was.
I mean, I don't know what football games are like to you.
Well, it's not foot. It's a grid ball. So that's what grid ball is like.
So it's American football.
No, it's grid ball.
Okay, what I'm asking, is it called grid ball in the
Yes.
game because it's supposed to be not quite gridiron?
I'd say so.
Okay.
I don't know. I was too busy making out with my chicken husband.
Why is he chicken?
Because he likes chickens.
Okay.
He really likes chickens.
Oh, he's not a chicken.
Yeah.
No, he's not H. I would.
I hope
How would I make out with a chicken, Drummer Matt? Like, draw me a fucking diagram, dude.
He has written the book about making out with
Okay,
chickens.
Drummer
Did you know
Matt
that?
has literally drawn he has commissioned illustrators to draw.
He had to.
draw me kissing
The
chickens.
publisher demanded it.
That's what the public wants. That's what
Also,
the
I
public
want you to know how borderline incomprehensible this is getting.
Okay. There's a character called Shane who is my boyfriend in Stardew Valley. He is like clinically depressed and really mean when you first meet him because he's just like he has really trouble like trusting everyone else. And it's like you go up and you talk to him and he's like, "Why are you talking to me? I don't know you," and just fucking leaves. And he's really sad because he works at Stardew Valley like Amazon, and they treat him like shit. And he's also got a drinking problem, but he loves chickens. And now that I'm like Like as our relationship's moved on, he's seeing a therapist. He's given up drinking all the time, and we're making out in football stadiums.
Okay.
And I just think that's a beautiful love story. Don't you
Good.
think that's the most romantic thing you've ever fucking heard? Isn't it so romantic you could just shit?
I have one important question to ask.
Hit me.
Does roaming down into the dungeon and murdering things, is that included in your...
Yeah,
in
I've
your
been doing that
romance?
too. Yeah.
Good,
It's
good.
not really included in the romance, though. Drama Matt, did you literally just send me a picture of me making out with a giant chicken?
I mean, yeah.
Are those tongues?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, you've captured my essence perfectly, I feel. But why doesn't Shane have eyes?
He doesn't need eyes to fuck.
God!
Oh god, that's going in the spank bank right there. Thank you, Drummer Matt.
Well, we know...
Is it getting hot in here, or is it just Drummer Matt's fucking bizarre art?
Well, we know what's going to be used for the thumbnail now.
What Snipe makes out with a chicken man? What
Yeah.
audience watches
Well,
and
the audience
screams?
claps.
Everyone clap.
Jesus Christ. Do you have anything to add to your talk of Stardew Valley, or can we move on from
I don't
this?
know if there's anything I can top that with, so I have a dog called Guybrush and that's it.
That's
Nice.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty
Oh, and I
great.
have 4 chickens.
What are the
Awesome.
chickens called?
Sombra,
Okay,
Marlene,
yeah.
Fortune, and Solidus.
I understood
A
that
mix
reference.
of names.
Yeah, I think they're all good names for good hen girls. And they
Okay.
all love me very much because I always remember to to shut the door at night so foxes don't get in and just punch me in
Okay.
the face.
Does your chicken husband ever get into the chicken coop?
Okay, what are you insinuating?
You said he likes chickens.
Yeah, no, he lives at like his auntie's barn where she like has a bunch of farm animals and stuff. So like she sells them.
No, he's got his own supply of chickens.
Yeah,
yeah.
his own
Okay,
chicken supply.
cool.
Okay,
Alright, cool.
I don't like the insinuation here.
Well, he just gets in with the chickens and just wriggles around with them for a bit. It's not sexual.
He doesn't though. That's not a thing.
He's like, look at me, I'm a chicken.
That's not what he does. Drummer Matt will not let you not see that picture of me kissing the giant chicken.
going off, going, you need to see this picture that Matt drew. It's like, I've fucking seen it, phone. Stop it.
No, you need to really see it.
I don't need to see it any more than I already have. Anyway.
But yeah, I've been having super amounts of fun with Stardew Valley to the point where it is detrimental to my work
Awesome.
life.
With the multiplayer,
Yes.
Is it if you start a multiplayer game with someone else, can you only play it when they're on?
From what
with
I've
you?
seen, that's not like you can start a game with someone else, but I think they can drop out at any time and then drop in if you're
Okay,
the host
cool.
at least. So
Does
you're,
yeah, I was
you're-
gonna say whoever's
yeah.
hosting it has to be playing, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, yeah, I can.
What
like,
happens if you? Sorry. What happens if
carry
you
on.
play like a single player game? Can you invite someone to join you, or do you
From,
have to
like-
start it?
From what I've seen, there is implications that you can because like there's the carpenter there, and like you if you start a co-op game, you have like a hut for your farmhand, which is your co-op partner, and you can buy and craft those in single player. So I think you can open it
Okay.
up for multiplayer.
that's cool.
I mean, you'd have to like actually do any research into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I just really
Unlike me.
like because sometimes with those sort of games, similar with Minecraft, like I can play them by myself for quite a while, but then I just hit a wall and I'm just like, nah, I want to be playing with someone else.
Yeah.
So,
also,
I'm
you
just
can marry
intrigued.
your co-op partner as well, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, which is that's kind of fun. Because when Longfang and I were playing it, we were like, okay, we're basically gonna do this to dodge taxes. Not that there's any taxes in Stardew Valley. So we're gonna live together, and then like there's like a spring dance, and we're like, yeah, we'll just dance with each other because like if we're like at least together, then everyone else will leave us the fuck alone. So we're doing like
Yeah,
this massive
that makes sense.
misanthropic tax dodge, which is great. But yeah, no, it's very good, a lot of fun. Also, be careful because it can completely dominate your life.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad,
Yeah.
but it is good. Thank you. That's the Stardew Valley police coming to tell me that I need to play more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Don't, and you can't tell people, give them the warning about dominating life.
Okay, that's fair.
You're not meant to tell them that. The Stardew Valley police will come and tell you off.
Damn it, the chicken police are coming to tell me off. And then I'll just make out with them and get out of my fines.
No.
Yeah.
Because
fair.
apparently that's what I
Fair.
do. I just make out with like chicken people who don't have eyes.
It's been known to happen.
It's been, as is tradition. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Kissing big chickens, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing with my time.
So Matthew,
He
You
is.
always call him Matthew like he's done something wrong.
I know. I'm
I
sorry.
haven't this time.
Matthew
By the
Delicious.
time you get to the end of my bit, I'll be in trouble with Matt. So you're preemptively calling me. Sorry, Web. Ugh. The worst.
Just call him
I'm so
Mib.
bad at your internet names.
That's okay. We're not good at them either.
It's fine.
I just say call him Mib.
Mib.
You know, like that hit '90s like sci-fi comedy for kids. Mib.
What?
Mib.
I don't.
Oh, Men in Black.
No.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was Mib.
It... Matt, please.
You know. Yeah. Okay. So you recall last time I was weighing up which game to play.
Yes.
So I played Tomb Raider.
Okay.
The new-
remake,
the
the
new
first
old one.
of the new ones.
Oh,
The old new one.
I hate this fucking.
So it is now
naming
old,
convention.
but it is newer than the first game called Tomb Raider.
Yes,
Yeah, the 2013 one,
The
or whatever
reboot.
year it was. The
Yeah.
first of the reboot.
1993. Tomb
Yeah.
Raider. Yeah.
And I am going to preempt with what I'm going to say. With that, I did enjoy it.
I enjoyed it too.
I
I've
really enjoyed it.
completed
I put in about 16 hours, and I have completed the story, and I've done all of the collectibles in the sense of the ones that are marked on the map. There's a few in each area where it's like bird eggs you've got to find, or statues you've got to light the torch of, and there's a few things that aren't ever marked on the map, and I was like, you know what, the alternative here, I can either spend the next however long wandering around aimlessly to find them, which doesn't feel like I'm achieving anything, or I can just look up a guide, but that also doesn't really feel like I'm achieving anything. But beyond that, I've 100%ed it and unlocked everything, apart from obviously multiplayer, because, you know, fuck that.
Oh fuck multiplayer. Yeah.
There's always like a bunch of multiplayer achievements, and you're just like, nah, not gonna ever get them.
Nope.
I wonder if anyone's still playing it.
I have no idea, and you know what? I will never know.
No
I'm
one,
entirely fine with that.
literally no one cares enough to check.
No.
Yeah, I mean, do people ever buy like a single player adventure game to play the multiplayer of, and ever, even when it's new?
I think like
Like, no offense to anyone who does, if it turns out everyone does, but like, I don't know, like, anyway, whatever. Not for
I
me.
don't think there's anyone ever that's gone, I really like this single player game, but I wasn't going to buy the next one because it didn't have poorly implemented, hastily implemented multiplayer that's just going to be massively
Yeah.
one-sided, unbalanced, and presumably full of bugs. Oh, but this one does! Fuck yeah, take my money!
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. But anyway, I put in about 16 hours, according to Steam, and I finished everything that I am wanting to have finished on it.
Nice.
and
Did
yeah,
you
I really
raid all
enjoyed it.
those tombs,
I
right?
read all, like, 2.5 of them, or however many of them there is not in the game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
quite
one of my.
lax on
I've got a
tombs.
list here. So yeah, preempting this with the fact that I did really enjoy it, and I think it is a good game, and I am looking forward to playing the next one. Although I'm having a little bit of a break with other stuff,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, sensible.
but I am looking forward to the next one. I have a list of just various things I noticed as I was playing through, which I have slight niggles with the game about.
Okay.
And we'll see if I understand any of my notes now, because I wrote these early last week and in like bad, not full sentences. So
Oh.
let's see if
Oh,
I
so
understand the
they're not
context
full.
of anything.
Okay.
First up, oh my lordy, it's just torture porn. It's just, I get what they're going for, and but at some point it just, like, every single time anything good happens, something twice as bad happens, and it
Yeah.
just gets to the point where you're just like, okay, firstly, I'm just not enjoying this as much as I could be if it was fun, like, but I get the point and fine. But then it's also like, look, I'm so far like beyond suspension of belief of like how much this one human can survive at this point.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes away any threat, because it's like, well, she can survive this. She can survive literally anything. It's just a little bit like, okay, they could have toned it down slightly, and I think it would have had more effect. It isn't an controversial opinion, I don't think. I think a lot of people thought the same.
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of the kind of like her deaths and stuff were just so overly violent. They came off as massively mean-spirited,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember some of those.
and it was
And,
just
like-
like, oh, this isn't like usually like one of my favorite games in the world is Doom 2016. I am not averse to gore. But that was like, haha, look at this fucking woman out stranded, and now she's like dying in agony, and I'm like, okay. Not a fan of seeing anyone like that, really.
And like I said, I see what they're going for, and I see there is definitely a point of it.
I understand that they're trying to portray the brutality of the situation she's in.
All I could think of the whole way around is that coming back to like comic book films, and you know, Marvel have this successful comic book franchise, and then DC have come along and goes, yeah, let's do that, but we'll just make it dark for the sake of being dark.
Fuck.
In my head, all I can think of is Tomb Raider. The people who made it, like, saw Uncharted and was like, let's do that, but just go dark for the sake of going dark.
I get you.
All I could think of was this Marvel DC comparison the whole way through to like Tomb Raider compared to Uncharted. And yes, I know Uncharted is kind of based around the original Tomb Raiders, so it kind of comes back on itself, but still.
Yeah, no, I get you, dude. I completed it, and I
so that was my main thing. A few of the little niggles is like there's like various quick time event insta death fails, which are just like, you know, you're sliding down a slope for whatever reason, you've got to dodge out the way, and it's pretty much like, okay, you're going to die the first time, and then the second time you'll remember which way you need to dodge.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that doesn't really take skill. That's just you die the first time. I mean, and it's just like, you know, and you're trying to watch. It comes with similar things with quick time events in fights as well. You're trying to watch the action, and then the button prompt is like at the bottom of the screen, so you miss it the first time every time.
Yep, and then you see the horrifyingly over-the-top death.
And then the only way to avoid that is just to stare at the bottom of the screen where the prompts come up, but then you miss all the action, so you might as well not be having the quick time event. You might as well just be button mashing something else. I don't know.
Do you want to know the absolute worst game for quick time events like that?
What?
Which was Clive Barker's Jericho.
Don't get me started.
Okay. Which...
I hate that game.
The quick time events on that, which were usually insta-kill things, were small, grey-coloured buttons that would appear at the side of the screen out of nowhere.
Okay, this is not that bad.
It's still not great, but yeah.
And so sometimes you just die.
I don't think anything is as bad as Clive Barker's Jericho, though. That's fucking horrific.
Few things are as bad as Clive Barker's Jericho, it's true.
Okay, but this isn't that bad. And don't get me wrong, like... People are very negative about quick time events, and I think they can have a time and a place, especially in like a story-based game like this is.
Yeah.
Like, go with it, but just, I don't know, do it better.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because I think, again, I just think they're relied on a bit too heavily.
Oh, and then another note is that, when you do die, there's no consequence to dying. You just start again like 10 seconds earlier. So it's just like, well, it doesn't really matter. So all the grimness and all the torture and all the pain kind of is irrelevant because you can't die, and if you do die, which again, I know it's a game and that's how it has to be, but I don't know, it was something which made you then not get tense about anything because it didn't matter.
I get that.
What else have I got? Plot convenience things, especially in cutscenes. Like at one point you're like going across this bridge, which was stupid anyway. You have to climb across these. It's moderate spoilers. It's not spoilers at all. You don't know the context. Like, you're climbing underneath a bridge because there's too many guys on top of the bridge. Which, first up, is stupid because you killed twice that many guys in the scene previously.
Yeah.
And then it's just suddenly like, oh yeah, no, you have to climb under this bridge because there's 4 guys on that bridge. And you're like, well, but I've literally just killed like 20 dudes or whatever. But then you're like going under it and you get caught, and one of your mates like snipers off some guys, and like you're in a headlock and he snipers from like however many hundreds of meters away into the head of the person you're next to, and you're like, dude, did you just take a shot at me? Because from where you are, there's no way you can differentiate between me and the guy who's got me in a headlock. Like, I feel like we need to dwell on this, what you've just done and how much of a big risk you've taken at this point.
I'd like to think he was just like, he was correcting so violently, he was literally aiming at Lara.
Yeah, well, basically.
And just magically like managed to shoot someone else. He was like, shit! Coriolis effect!
Yeah. And then, so there's like positive plot convenience in this is especially cutscenes, and then negative cutscenes as well. Like, you've just fought again like 10, 20 dudes and you're fine, and then it cuts to a cutscene where 2 guys capture you and you can't do anything about it. You're like, but I've just fought a bunch of dudes and I've beaten them all. Why can't I fight these 2 dudes? And I know it's progressing story, but I feel like there's a better written way of doing it.
Yeah, I remember when Tomb Raider first came out and everyone had just discovered the term ludonarrative dissonance and how that game apparently defined that. But yeah.
Now, the game that defines it is GTA 4.
Okay, that's fair. But you know what
Yeah.
I mean. You remember the Tomb Raider is good, but the later narrative dissonance, that's a new word, I like it, makes me sound really clever.
You do sound clever. Well done.
Thank you.
Just my last few is there's a few like bits where it's like there's some weird like there's not many puzzles and there's not many tombs, which Tomb Raider. But I guess you're becoming the Tomb Raider. You're not a Tomb Raider yet, so fine. But when there is like puzzles and you're not doing a fight, it's like you walk into it and you just move the camera around before you've like looked around the whole room. Lara says something like, "Oh, there's natural gas over there. That looks flammable." Like, yeah, I'm sure I would have worked that out given like a second. Like, but now you've just told me the solution to this problem.
I like the
it's
idea
just
that
like-
this is the pocket of natural gas that she can just see.
Well, you can see it like coming up. 'Cause it's like green or whatever.
Yeah, it's fart
Or
gas.
sometimes you walk past and she starts coughing. And you're like, that could be quite subtle. And you have to work. And then she just says, "Oh, you should do this." And you're like, but can you just give me like a minute just to have a bit of a think and pretend that there's some sort of challenge here?
It reminds me of MGS4, where literally Otacon never puts the fucking codec down.
Where like if
Do
you're fighting
XYZ, okay.
if you're fighting a boss for like more than 30 seconds.
And he's like, "Oh my god, no!" And you're like, "Fuck it, I don't want to hear about how like Bleach ended, like Otacon." Okay, I get it. In fact, I prefer that to you telling me how to play the fucking game I've been playing for 20 hours. You prick. God damn it, Hal. Go fall in love with someone who'll get murdered. Too mean?
I do like how Matt is apparently slowly turning into me, where he can play a game and say I liked it and then go on to complain about it for 15 minutes.
I think I liked it in the sense of I liked what it could have been, and it was still good enough that I enjoyed it. But I'm annoyed enough that I can rant about it.
Yes, yeah, I get you.
I'm in exactly the same boat with that game. I thought it was like I don't regret playing. I thought it was an enjoyable experience. It had a lot of problems, but I still enjoyed it at the end.
And apparently I bought it in around 2014 or something. So I thought it's probably time. My last complaint on my list is there's quite a few scripted moments where it's not a cutscene, but you're fighting a bunch of dudes, and at the end of the corridor, or the end of the room, there's a guy on a machine gun turret or something. And like the point of it is you fight your way through the dudes, climb up to the thing, like drop down on like a rope or a zip line or something, and like cutscene kill the dude, or like quick time event kick the dude in the head. But because they wanted to have that cool moment, you can't kill them otherwise. So like you get a grenade launcher, and if you get a perfectly shot, like you're aiming up in the middle of the sky, and perfect shot with the grenade launcher that lasts there. A perfect shot with a grenade launcher that lands just behind them doesn't kill them because they're invincible until you.
Bot armor.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just like, but that in my head, like doing that ridiculous shot while getting shot at by everyone else is way cooler than going down the same zip line approach I've done to the last few of these same guys.
Yeah.
He
they're
has very
invincible
literal plot armor.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's just annoying.
Yeah,
But, and then, yeah, like I say, I did enjoy it, but in essence, my general thoughts to it are that it's worse in basically every way to Uncharted, apart from it's on PC,
which
means I can play it and I can't play Uncharted anymore. Although, I was reading about the PlayStation Now service, or PlayStation Plus, or PlayStation Get Games and
PlayStation
give
Plus,
them money.
where it's games as a service kind of thing.
But the one way, where you don't own the game, you can just pay monthly, but you can get that on PC.
Oh, can you now? Because now
Yeah,
I'm
it
interested.
does mean that you're playing games off their server. So if I'm not going to dare try it now because my internet's wank and isn't going to. But I'm intrigued about it, and I know the Uncharted games are on there. So
I've heard very mixed things
I've
about the
heard
service.
basically it's a terrible experience. I'm assuming, but it's better
Probably.
than no experience, especially if there's like a week-long trial, which I think there is. And a week-long trial is enough to play through all of the Uncharted games.
If
Well-
you don't want to eat, sleep, or play Stardew
Well, no, because they're
Valley.
only about 8 hours. They're only about 8 hours each.
Yeah.
So that's just, 4 Uncharted games, that's just 4 days, even not long days, just like, work day sort of length days.
I gotta ask, because I remember, I wanted to play the most recent one purely because it looked really good, and it looked like if you got Liam Neeson and Nathan Fillion and made them run at each other at the speed of light, that's Nathan Drake. And I'm like,
Yep.
cool.
Nathan, have we spoke about this? Nathan Fillion did was acting in a fan movie of an Uncharted, like a 15-minute.
Oh my god, I
Uncharted
saw
film.
something about that, and it's
And
like,
it
that
was-
makes so much sense, because he is the most talented hair actor of our generation.
Yeah, totally. And, it's everything as cheesy as it is, and as you've mentioned before, basically, Nathan Fillion is being Nathan Fillion and finger gunning everyone. In essence, it's kind of that. But that doesn't make it any worse, because that's what it's supposed to be. So, yeah, I do reckon it's just free on the internet. So I recommend everyone goes and watch that if you're at all interested in Nathan Fillion being Nathan Fillion. Or Nathan Drake being Nathan Fillion.
Wait a minute, they have the same name.
Almost as if they had someone in mind when they were writing the character.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on Tomb Raider. I will play the sequel, and I'm hoping that they kind of...
I've heard the sequel is a lot better and has improved a lot on stuff.
Yeah, and I'm also hoping it has tombs in it, because,
that you can raid.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Because, that was my other issue. The tombs, there's only like 4 tombs, or there might not be exact. There's single-digit number of tombs, I'm sure.
I can't remember.
And the tombs are just one room with one puzzle, and you solve that, and that's the end. And you're like, well, that's not a very good tomb.
Did you do the one
when I
where...
die, I want a better tomb than 2 rooms. Come on, I mean...
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put one in there that, like, basically has, like, all your riches encased in, like, a glass vial that's, like, covered in sulfur, or, like, a really, really horrible acid. And I'll be like, oh, it'll be so good. And I'll have Brendan Fraser, like... basically help me design it, because he was the man who was in The Mummy. He's the mummy from The Mummy.
Are we talking about you doing a Tomb Raider sequel and putting in tombs, or are you talking about literally building a tomb from that? Because I'm very lost.
I'm talking about entombing Matt once he's passed on, once he's shrugged off his mortal coil. Brendan Fraser and I will get our heads together and try and figure out the ultimate death trap tomb.
We do know someone who looks a lot like Brendan Fraser. We can almost pull this off.
I'll get him like a loose shirt and just be like, so Brendan, and I'll be like, this shit again. Because that's basically what he does. Do you remember when we realised that he looked like Brendan Fraser and he just gave us that look of like, I want to fucking die?
Yes. Anywho,
yes. Anyway, sorry.
I'm going to preemptively listen to Wib telling me to move things on.
Yep.
I don't like it.
After I finished Tomb Raider, I played a different game.
Did you?
I gave it a second chance to Dark Souls.
How many hours did you manage?
Last time I managed an hour and a half, and I beat the first boss because that's in like 10 minutes in or whatever it is. But I didn't make it to the second boss because I got bogged down with skeletons and dying. This time, I finished after about an hour and a half. I gave up. This time I lasted twice as long. So congrats me.
Yeah, nice.
I managed to
By 2040, you might
hours.
finally get to the Bell Gargoyles.
No, to sum it up, after 3 hours, rather than just quitting the game, like last time, I also uninstalled the game.
Oh dang.
If you like it, and I'm aware of the audience that I have being you, Wib, especially, if you like it, that is fine. I am very glad for you, and I'm taking nothing away from you. But I do kind of think it's a shit game for twats.
All right.
Your rebuttal, Wib?
Care to explain?
That's possibly coming us. No. All jokes aside, if you enjoy it, great, but it's just not for me. I think I found out. I've tried twice now. I'm not even sure I can exactly put into words exactly what I think about it, but giving it a vague attempt, it just seems mean for the sake of being mean. And I get hard games, and I get the appeal of a hard game, but it seems like it's not trying to be hard to be challenging. It's just trying to be hard to intentionally frustrate.
Yeah.
And
Speaking as someone who's not deep into the Dark Souls kind of fandom, I think Dark Souls 1 is a big sufferer of guess what I was thinking when I was designing this area, which I personally fucking loathe.
You think that's bad? You should play Dark Souls 2.
I have played a lot of Dark Souls 2, and it's worse.
It's much worse.
It's much worse, and that's what annoys me. And people can a lot of people kind of see that kind of thing and go, "Oh, but I like the challenge." And it's like, that's fine. It just fucking frustrates me. It's like, you're trying to dig a hole with your bare fucking hands. And someone stands there watching you the whole time going, wow, you suck, wow, you suck, wow, you suck. And then, they throw you a shovel after you say the words fuck off, a customary 37 times, and then go, there you go, that's how you do it. and it's really obtuse and really frustrating.
But then
And a lot
more
of the time, the fan base can be very insufferable in the way that
definitely.
Get Good.
Yeah.
Or you're doing it like this.
And that's,
Wow.
I think that's the thing. Knowing some of the fan base, again, not everyone, and not you, Wib, and probably not everyone who listens to this, but it seems like they just wanted to make a game that was hard, so people on the internet could be like, "I'm so good at this hard game." and I don't know if it's because I know people who've said, or I know of people who have said that, and I've come to it way too late. Or, I don't know, it just seems like it's hard for the sake of being hard so people can show off about it being hard. I don't know, there's just something about... And the thing is as well, one of my frustrations as well is that I would even get that, but the point is it's kind of... So, you're trying to get through an area, and you're trying to find the next boss, and so you're grinding through in the first area, or the first main area, after the sort of tutorial bit.
Yeah.
You're going through fighting wave and wave of skeletons, and then you die and you go back and you have to fight the same ones and progress a bit further. And the point of it is that you eventually grind enough that you know where you're going, and then to do good at the game, you run, like I got this tip from you, Web, after texting you in frustration. You just run past all the skeletons, you don't fight them each time. I was like, so you grind and get better and better, and then to finally succeed, you dodge all the challenge. So you don't even get rewarded for getting good at the end, because you don't get good, you just learn where you need to go and then avoid the challenge. And then exactly the same thing, you get to a boss and exactly the same thing happens. You try and go for the boss and you get killed by a random archer behind you that you didn't see. Or you try and go for the boss and you die due to some weird glitch, because sometimes you can roll through the legs and sometimes you can't. And you just die, and then you find the one, or you text your friend Wib and say, how the fuck do you do this? And you tell me. You find the one cheesiest of cheese ways to do it. So like this first boss, spoilers ahead if you don't know how to kill it, but you climb a ladder, jump on its head doing a third damage to it, chase it down one end of the map so it runs away, run back faster than it does, climb the ladder again, jump on it down again. So you finally work out how to beat this boss, and then it's the most cheesiest lack of skill way of doing it.
Yep.
So even though it's a hard
exploiting.
game, like, you don't overcome any challenge, you just work out how to particularly cheese your way through a niche. So it's like, it's not even hard and then you get to overcome the challenge. It's hard and then you find a way to glitch it or cheese it. So I just find it, like, it was hard and then there's no reward at the end of it, because you're just like, oh, I've done that by, like, some weird... I can't even think of a better word than cheesing it, but, like, some, like, weird quirk of the thing, rather than by... I don't know, it's like you don't get any reward for overcoming the hardness, because you don't ever overcome it. You just move your way around it.
If I may put forth,
I didn't realise I cared so much about it until I started talking out loud. I'm sorry for getting emotional.
If I may
fucking control yourself.
Okay, I can breathe. Hang on.
Okay,
Sorry.
If I may put forth a contrary interpretation
of course.
to what you just said.
Of course. Yes.
Well, for one, I have never done more than one drop attack on the.
But you
on the
can.
Taurus
Once you've done
Demon.
one, you can just repeat that same thing again.
Yeah, you can.
You can. But the thing about Dark Souls, and especially Dark Souls 1 and 3 to a lesser extent, we don't talk about Dark Souls 2 in this regard because it's not as well designed.
Okay.
But the thing about those games is that they are as hard as they're as hard as you make them.
Okay, as somebody who is nowhere near as angry at Dark Souls as Drama Matt, and someone who's nowhere near as up the dick hole of Dark Souls as you, I feel like I'm able to say that is bullshit.
No. Well, how about you let me say more than a sentence?
Shan't.
And then I can explain what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely,
Because-
I'm willing
Please,
to
no,
listen.
fucking explain yourself.
Because the games are hard. They are, yes. And anyone that sits there and says that they are easy is objectively wrong. Or is just trying to sit there and flate themselves. Like, they are difficult games. They are punishing. They are difficult to beat. However, the way they are structured is in such a way that there is always a trick. There's always some way of beating them that is easier than just straight up doing it. So yeah, like the Taurus Demon, yes, you can just drop down on him from the little background of the rampart part. You can just do that repeatedly, and especially if you're using the what's it called? I forget now. The thing that gives a lightning effect on your weapon. It's been a
like
while.
Amber or something.
You use that, and you can do a shitload of damage to him. But you don't have to do that at all. You can just straight up fight him, and once you're familiar with how the game works, then, to be honest, it's no more... Like, the Taurus team is relatively easy to deal with. And you can just go through and not even worry about that stuff. But you can do that. You can also grind out. You can also... Unfortunately, you can't do it anymore unless you're playing the remastered version. Call in friends to help. There's ways of mitigating the difficulty depending on what you consider to be like a legit kill. Now, it's not... Like I say, the base game is difficult, but there's many ways to mitigate that, and I don't really consider that to be cheesing it, like, to me.
I will say I understand where Dromat's coming from, because if you give players an easy way of doing things, they will always do it that way. And especially so in Dark Souls, because it is so unforgiving and it is so fucking nasty to you. Now, this is just saying, like, what Dromat's saying is he doesn't feel any happiness, doesn't feel like he's earned a victory over a boss, because he has to resort to such cheesy tactics because the boss is so fucking difficult regardless. And saying like, oh, it's only as hard as you make it, to me sounds like you're saying, well, you just got to learn the tactics, which every game has tactics.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that. No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't explain to you what you need to know, and that's what's frustrating about Dark Souls.
I've said that myself in previous podcasts. I've said that there are Dark Souls does not explain itself well enough a lot of the time.
No, honestly, I'd say the first game is actually not as good a game as a direct result of that, because it just sits there again. I'm going to say it, just sits there and goes, "Guess what I'm thinking."
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's really frustrating.
I feel it's one of those things that makes for a game that has a lot of depth and interest.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And there's a lot of replay value if part of the game is to... Because it's like any game, you can play any game and go, oh, you know what, I'm going to make this my own challenge by not using a weapon. I'm just going to punch people in like a shooter game or something. But this has that, but like turned up to the nth degree, and it's like makes it valid doing that, like doing it different ways. So I can see how it has basically infinite replayability if you liked it the first time.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. It's like listening to music, and this is a weird comparison, but there's like some albums that the first time you listen to it, you're just like, fucking yeah, that was great, but then it gets pretty old pretty quick. And there's some albums that are just like, oh, this is a bit weird, but then actually you give it time, and you're like, actually, this is way better than it would have been if it was more accessible, or not accessible, but more catchy or more immediately good, because you've had the time to get into it.
Yeah, that's.
And I find that quite a lot with music, and I imagine that could be like it could entirely be like this for the game.
It is a bit. Yeah,
I cannot get over that first bit of. To me, I think it all comes down to the fact that just for me personally, it's just not fun. So I'm not going to get over that not fun bit to get to any satisfaction.
I mean, like, no one can sit there and tell you that you are having fun when you're not. Yeah. So, I mean, like...
So, yeah. Like I said, right at the start, I'm not having a go at it. If you like the game, I'm very happy for you. Great. It's just, for me, this is why I couldn't get into it.
I do kind of... I think of Dark Souls, it is a game that... I think people who make out, like, the hardness is... all the game is. They do sell it short.
It's also massively painful and confusing.
But
yeah, it doesn't help for beginners that it doesn't explain what any of the things
it does make it a much more difficult game to get into than I think a lot of people realize. So you end up with that like I say, there is a lot of gatekeepy bullshit that goes on with Dark Souls, and as with any piece of art, there's nothing, like, everything is, like, subjective, like, you like it or you don't, and there's a million reasons why you can like something or not. And I do think that one of the things that can make Dark Souls easy to get into is, because you're playing it on the not remastered version, right?
Yeah, I was playing, it wasn't the remastered version, but it was something. It was Dark Souls.
It was Prepare to Die edition.
Colon. Yeah, that. I don't know what that is, but it was.
That's just the PC release, really.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay. And I don't believe...
I mean, it warned me in the title, so I mean, I can't really...
The online features aren't enabled in that anymore, are they?
No, they've been shut down for a while.
Because it doesn't tell you how to do it, so I don't know if I could or not.
Yep.
Because that's the big thing. If you, playing through a Dark Souls game for the first time, one of the things that really makes it like work, one of the things that I feel is a really natural way to learn how to do the game, like to play the game and to learn how an area works, is you help other people out as a phantom and go and fight the boss, and you get to do all that practice on sort of someone else's time almost.
Yeah.
But playing through Dark Souls 3 on launch meant I got to do that, and I never looked at a wiki for that until after I'd beaten the main story of the game, because I wanted to try and do that. And using the summoning system allows you to do that, which you're missing that very useful teaching tool from the game at this point, which does I feel is a real big detriment to the game.
That is a negative impact.
I think my point to this is that, well, not my thoughts on that one are that I didn't realise that I should be going into this thinking of it as a multiplayer game, basically. Like, from the sounds of that, that makes it not a single player game, which is what I would want in a RPG type game, because I want to fall into it myself. I don't want to have to rely to. If I want to play a multiplayer game, there's multiplayer games that I enjoy that I wasn't expecting to need that going into what I thought was a single player game.
I totally get you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the
I play MMOs to avoid and don't party up with people because I don't enjoy that part of it.
It is a very core element to Dark Souls, for better or worse, the multiplayer aspects of it. It does fortunately mean that you didn't encounter the PvP stuff, which is garbage bullshit, and I hate.
The worst.
Okay, good.
I have...
Oh man, imagine how annoyed I'd be if I found that.
If you'd have been ganked, you would have been you would have probably uninstalled your computer from your house.
Like, legit, the last time I played Dark Souls 1, I encountered a guy who... Well, I've encountered many of these over the years, but who have, the most specific gimmick builds who will fight you early on in the game. They will, keep their soul level low.
Just so they can pick on the newbies.
So they can pick on newbies, and they'll invade you whenever you're human. They are the
I still don't understand the human hollowed thing, because you get to a bonfire and it says do you want to kindle? I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'll try it. Oh no, you need to unhollow yourself or something. I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that then. It's like, oh, you need humanity. It's like, but I literally looted. It said I looted 3 humanity off this last guy. It's like, oh no, you don't have any. It's like, but I picked some up.
Yeah,
it's like, no, you can't do that.
That's one of the big downs.
So I didn't know what any of that did because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's one of the big elements of the game that I will, I do concede as being a real big fucking issue. Namely that there are a lot of things that it should just tell you how it works. And I understand that they want to be mysterious, but as we see here, it totally gets in the way of a new player finding the depth of the game by hiding all of these features that make the game easier to play. It just hides them from you. And when you know they're there and you know how to use them, then you can, like I said, that's what I said earlier about you can make the game as hard as you sort of want it to be. That's the sort of thing I mean. There are all of these ways of mitigating the more difficult things in the game, but you are right. It does hide these things from you, and that's a major issue. It's one of those things that I feel does make the best parts of the game be hidden from a lot of people, which is a shame. Something which, weirdly, the Surge actually does a lot better, because very few of the mechanics in that are hidden. It does just fucking come up with tooltips and say, this is how this works, idiot. And, I'm like, yeah, thanks. I actually needed that.
Can you imagine if in Dark Souls 4, let's just pretend that's going to happen.
I will, because it's like them printing money. Why would they not do it?
Yeah, but can you imagine... Now, just for a second, try and imagine what the internet, how it would react, or at least, Twitter would react, if they put tooltips in Dark Souls 4. Can you fucking imagine screaming from the rooftops, dogs and cats living together?
You know what would probably be the best option if they were to do something like that?
Punch everyone who complains about it in the face.
Is just to make it a toggle. so that people who want to experience it in the old school, we don't explain shit and you have to slowly figure
To be
it out
fair,
way.
like most games have that now. It's like,
Yeah.
do you want to enable tutorials? Just no, easy.
Yeah,
But
I
then,
think
like, people will be screaming about it.
just make it a thing
because-
when you boot the game up of, say, for this new run, do you wish to enable this or not, and you can re-enable or disable this in the.
That's literally what games do nowadays.
Yeah,
So,
that's. I think if they do that, then yeah.
But even with the whole, like, if it absolutely came up like that, can you imagine the screaming?
Oh yeah, of course, but yeah,
There would be death threats.
as a
But,
general.
I mean, I guess you've just got to avoid people screaming about, because every topic there'll be
I
people
just
screaming
avoid
about it.
people.
So,
Yeah,
just avoid them.
and the Dark Souls fandom is like one half like
Really
good and
supportive
encouraging
people.
and interesting and really fun to engage
The other
in.
half is like, oh god, like Better Chaos is the ultimate easy boss. I fell asleep and I was still doing it.
You
I
literally
completed it.
can't. You can't say you've beaten the game unless you've done a Soul Level 1 run. How about
At least just arseholes.
how about I beat Gwyn, so therefore I've beaten the game. It literally doesn't matter how I do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my thoughts on. Oh, my last thoughts. This is something you can agree on with me. It is janky as all fuck.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
janky.
Like, my particular favourite is how the anti-aliasing option makes most of the screen down to a quarter of the size. Not the UI, that stays the same, so it's not a whole screen scaling issue. Just the viewport into the game goes to like a quarter of the size if you turn on anti-aliasing.
Well,
Is
yeah.
that?
A particularly interesting feature.
Did you play it with the fix on it? to
Yeah,
make it-
but the fix requires you to turn off anti-aliasing.
If I remember rightly, I
something.
think that the anti-aliasing interacts with that.
Yeah,
and that's
with
what
the fix.
causes that to happen.
Yeah, I know, but the fact that that is still a thing in the fixed version of it.
Yeah.
Oh
is
yeah.
all manner
It's-
of
that game
and then
was
like
busted as fuck.
when it comes up with like even when you're booting up the game and it comes up with like From Software and all the various logos, you can like see an ever so slight like 1 pixel wide white border around where the difference between the JPEG or whatever the image file they use
Yeah.
of the image of the like company logo and the black screen. And it's just like, guys, you put in no effort into fixing any bugs in this, did you? Like,
Again,
that's
that's
the first
something
thing
which
people
is
see.
that's not
Right.
actually visible if you play it unfixed.
Okay.
So
But
yeah, on the
if you
one
play-
hand,
I can't remember what the fix did because I fixed it last time I played it, which was like 3 years ago.
DS Fix
So-
makes it run at a decent resolution and makes it run at
Okay.
a decent frame rate. Makes the game look like a video game that was made in the
Okay.
last 10 years as opposed to a video game made in like 1998. Like that's mostly what
Okay.
it does.
You know, we've
So,
been talking.
so it's entirely legit for me to criticise these things because if I didn't, I'd be criticising whatever the fuck it looks like without this fix.
It looks like fucking. It looks worse than fucking Paratopic.
Have you ever played it unfixed? It pretty much looks the
Yeah.
same. It's
I
pretty
didn't
bad.
because I remember last time I played, you said, for the love of God, whatever you do before you launch this game, read up about how to get the fix installed.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I couldn't remember what it was for, but I just remember I didn't uninstall it last time because I thought at some point I'm going to want to try this again, and I'm not going to remember to do the fix thing, and I can't remember what it did, but it sounds serious. So I left it installed, but it's just gone now. I think that's me done with it, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I tried. So to move on, I played a third game this week, which collectively I put in more hours than Tomb Raider and Dark Souls combined.
Okay.
So that's 20 plus hours. I can't remember exactly how many. So I was like, okay, I need to do something to like cleanse my soul, so to speak, of Dark Souls. So I've played you could
You
almost
played
say
a fuck, you
no,
say.
I was going to say a fuckload, but you could almost say I've played a truckload of American Truck Simulator.
Right.
Now
right.
this is my sort of game. I'm back into my comfort zone at this point. It's fucking great.
I was kind of hoping it was American Fuck Simulator, but yeah, sure, let's go with yours.
It is not. No. Couch Fucker 2019 is still in development.
Okay.
not got
Remember, it has a Kickstarter. We will link to it in the description of the video.
I genuinely kind of want to. But anyway, American Truck Simulator is... I mean, I'd prefer to play the European one because then you get like places that I'm familiar with. But this version came free with the Humble Bundle, so...
Fair enough.
Have
I
you
didn't
just
wanna
been
actually
putting
pay
on
for one of these
podcasts, hitting
games.
the long, lonely road?
I literally have been doing that. I've just been putting on Critical Role. I mean, actually, because you can glance over and away from the screen. I've just been putting not even the podcast, but the actual YouTube version.
Oh, dang.
And I've just been sat watching. But because if I sit watching Critical Role or something like that, I feel like I'm not wasting time, but just not being productive. And if I sit and play
I
a
get you.
stupid game, likewise. But if I can do 2 at once, that's just about productive enough to not make me feel like a complete garbage person. And it's great. And it's like the bit where you're like driving between things, I can just watch there, and then the parking of your truck is like the most, like, if you go, when you get to the way you're going, you can say like, just drop it here, fine, go to an easy parking bit, or go to like a hard parking bit, and you get like 90 experience points extra when you get like 4,000 for doing the run.
So this is an RPG.
You level up, so I guess technically.
Technically.
Oh no, it is, you're role playing as a trucker.
Yeah. They
In
level up.
the strictest
That's the
possible
thing.
sense of the word, it is an RPG.
It's like if you ever
Yeah.
go and fight a trucker, they will fucking kill you because they are just so over-leveled for your bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, they just own their own. So you start off and you have your presumably trucking license, but you don't own a truck, and you do jobs for the people in their trucks, and then you get more money and you can buy your own truck, and then I think later on you can buy your own trailer. So then you get more money for delivering stuff because you're providing the equipment. And then I think you can like employ other drivers and start becoming like a management sim, I think, later on. I don't even know. I'm just happy with driving about myself, to be honest.
One love is the open road, dude. I get you.
And it's fucking great. Trucking great. Sorry. I keep missing the obvious truck ones.
God damn it.
So I don't really have much to say about it apart from, I mean, if anyone knows me, you'd know I enjoy this sort of game.
Yeah.
So
It's a really
like,
good
you
trucking
guys
game.
are not at all surprised at this point, I don't think.
I am angered that you didn't marvel at the amazing word puns I just put out there. How dare you? You're as jealous as you didn't think of them.
I am.
I knew it. You've always been jealous of my word talent.
Moving away from, this is a fourth thing I have to say this fortnight.
Good
so
lord.
that's quite good. So I have one last thing to say very quickly. Moving away from video games and onto D&D. I found recently, doing a bit my last few bits of prep, I found a few websites that are very useful, and I want to just give a bit of a shout out to.
Okay.
So there's a website called The Home Brewery, which is basically a text editor thing that makes whatever you write look like it's from the player's handbook or whatever. So
Nice.
you can add like titles and tables and like notes boxes, and you can just, it's like so on the left hand side of the screen you've got like a text editor with all the various markup, like it's not quite markup, but it's a similar sort of language, like, you know, you put stars around things to make them bold, and then it goes on from there to other things. And then on the right hand side of the screen you can just see a live preview of what it's going to look like.
Okay.
And at least
Nice.
if you want a way of making notes look, not for everything because it would just take ages, well not ages, but more than just scribbling it down with a pen and paper. But if you just want some, like I've got an idea for your guys' last session, which I just want a self-contained little sheet for. And I was like, I've been doing it this, and it's like, and I used it to make some custom magic items. So I can give, I gave Talis a custom magic item, so it made it look like it was from the player's handbook and things. And
Nice.
Ah.
I know it just works quite well, and it just makes your notes look really nice. If you
That's
just want
really
to do
cool.
something to, not even to publish, but you know what I mean, just to give out to your players or whatever. And the second thing I want to show off, or give a shout out to at least, is a map making tool that I found. It was on the D&D Reddit.
Okay.
Someone was basically, presumably a programmer, did exactly what programmers do and found a problem that he could have solved himself or done himself, but it would have taken 20 seconds longer. So therefore, he spent 2 months making an entire program to do it.
What a
Yep.
badass.
But it's a map making tool that just looks, I ended up buying it because it just looked so impressive, and I just wanted to just help support the guy. And it was like $20 or something, which is like 15 quid.
Yeah.
And I haven't actually, I've only used it for about 5-10 minutes. I've not had time to get into it yet, but I'm watching the video on its features. It's just, it looks like it makes map making so easy.
So can you get into like height maps and like densities and trade route? I'm guessing you can do all this stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like, you can just, so you start off and you get it to randomly generate you land depending on whether you have a scooter going past or not.
Oh, that's a very
It's oddly specific, but I am
Specific
living
feature,
for
yeah.
it right now.
Okay. So you get it to start off, and you start up with blank ocean, and then you can generate land. So you can generate it, I think, depending on whether you want it to be like one main island or lots of little ones or mostly land or whatever. And then after you've generated it, you can customize it yourself by like raising and lowering the terrain. And then you can like change the sea level to make it like, and things. And then you use like, basically, I think it's in essence just like Photoshop brushes or the equivalent with like different mountains that you can like drag and across to put mountains in, and trees and rivers, and I don't know. I haven't had a good play with it yet, but the maps it can make and the amount of stylistic changes you can do to it is just like, this is exactly what I was looking for when I drew my maps and couldn't find, so I ended up doing by hand, which I'm quite happy with.
I love
actually
your
looked
maps
all right,
by hand.
and I
They're
ended up
super
just
cool.
drawing the landmass by like getting a load of like I think it was dried beans or something, and just pouring them on a bit of paper and tracing around the outside, just to get like a random landmass size.
I saw a variant of that earlier. I think it was earlier this week, where someone had just got a bunch of dice and dropped
Yeah, you can do it
them.
with dice as well. Yeah.
And then the people were like thinking, you could also then use the value that rolled on the dice to define where mountain ranges are and stuff. So like a 20
Yeah.
is a mountain range, or like
Yeah.
a 4 is a city, or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, totally could. I mean, mountain ranges are you kind of follow it through logically. So you're like, well, this is you can see where they probably would be. But yeah, you could totally do it with dice. But I did it with, I think, beans or something dried.
I hope they weren't baked beans.
They were just baked
They weren't
beans,
baked beans.
Just poured baked beans on paper and then drew around it.
Yeah, Ruth came in and
Yeah.
was like, "Are you making maps, dear?" He's like, "Yes." Did you bring the baked beans with sausages? And
He's
she's like,
sitting there.
"No, dear."
He's sitting there in his high chair,
In his pants.
like just
Anyway,
pouring at the beans.
before this goes off too much, can I just say this map thing's called Wonder Draft?
Okay.
Because I hadn't said the name of it yet, and there might be one person listening going, "This sounds cool. What the fuck is it?" And then you guys go off on a tangent, and I forget to name it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. We go off on a tangent about your weird baby beans, King.
And I like I said, I bought it, but I've only actually spent about 10 minutes playing with it. So look into it. Don't just buy it off my recommendation. Look into it. There's at least a video that he did to like show what it was all about. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to those two because I just found them very useful. Or I found one of them very useful, and I would have found one incredibly useful like 2 years ago or whatever it was that I made my map. So I just thought I'd give them both a shout out quickly.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
I have to look into those.
Because, I've had more than I've ever had to say on this podcast. So I thought I might as well just keep going with it.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair. You'll go mad with power soon enough. It's fine.
Yep. And that's me done.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess we should probably go and do those question things that sometimes happen at us.
We have a few.
A good time.
Yeah, why not?
So what is the email address that people should send questions to, Snipe?
My butt.
They should not send it to your butt. What is the email address they should send the questions to?
Only drummer Matt at snipeandwib@gmail.com.
Good.
That was funny once.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here waiting for you to ask me. And
I
I was
know.
genuinely going to say, ask me, and then I'm not going to say anything, and whoever's editing this can just copy Snipe's answer into where I meant to say it.
Well, you see, what I was actually going to do was just not ask you so that I would leave you with this lingering paranoia.
sense of...
Yeah. That was,
How do you define...
As my brain folds in on itself.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't... I was intentionally not asking you to be annoying.
Okay, don't be a chode.
Good.
Drummer butt, what are the questions,
All right.
friend?
Questions. So first up, Shadow Bacon. Less of a question, just saying Snipe saying Hecka is now their spirit animal.
Good.
Well, honey, I'm
So-
glad I can entertain. It is a good cuss, huh?
It is the
It's a good
best.
one.
Bloodwolf Koji. Of all of the 40k models you possess, what is the one model in your army that you guys love the most?
Luca, my venerable Space Wolf Dreadnought from Forge World.
That's a fair one.
He's
I don't
beautiful and I love him so much. My close second is my Imperial Knight. She's not even finished yet.
Me, I don't know, honestly.
Is it your rogue trader boy? Your rogue trader chaplain?
I do like him.
Do you like him?
I
Would
don't.
you do kissing behind the bike sheds with him?
I honestly don't know what my favourite model would be. I think it changes.
That only
a lot.
works if he's a beaky.
Oh,
Then he's like a chicken.
Then you're pecking. Wait, no.
Call back!
This should not be the new meme from the hot internet podcast, Misanthropod. Because it's going to be like, oh yeah, but listen to this new podcast, it's fucking terrible. What is it? That's the Misanthropod? Is that the one with the woman who makes out with giant man-sized chickens that don't have eyes and see into your very soul? Yeah, that's the one.
One with no eyes, yet it sees all.
It sees all. Yeah.
I honestly don't know. It generally depends on like what I've done. Sort of the new hotness, as it were. So like at present, in like my Rogue Trader Dreadnought's up there.
I bet it is.
and I that's how much I like it. Just because of like weird, not even my nostalgia, so other people's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because I was barely a fucking. I wasn't even really a toddler when that came out. Like, I was just a fucking baby.
Like 3 months ago.
The Rogue Trader Dreadnought did not come out this year. Neither was I a toddler this year. In no way does that joke you made make sense, since it is very time
Look
dependent.
at us laughing now, though.
Just because you're laughing doesn't
Validates
mean
the
it makes...
joke, Wib.
No, it doesn't. Have you read like any like millennial meme page? None of it fucking makes sense. It's all this dark existential absurdity.
Funny.
Or it's just a man pointing at like a fucking flip flop on the floor.
Okay, that doesn't sound like it's.
I have literally seen that as like something someone was laughing at and couldn't stop laughing at.
My favourite one is "She had a farm." Who? The old MacDonald reading this? Because there's a whole like, oh yeah, who's beautiful?
I know.
The girl reading this.
I know the meme that broke you the most, that was just absurd, was the one that was like just a bunch of cubes and it was like, do not bully the cubes.
What?
No, it was like, do not victimize the cubes.
Were the cubes dice, or were they just cubes?
No, they were just floating like surrealist
Because I can get behind
cubes.
victimizing dice.
No, it was, yeah, as she said, it was just random cubes.
It was like just random like 3D rendered surreal like cubes, and there was like you know the stereotypical kind of like finger pointing thing that is like a wingding.
Yeah.
It's like had those pointing at cubes, or like do not cyberbully the cubes or whatever, and it fucking broke me.
In short,
Okay.
something doesn't have to make sense or be funny for you
You
to
were
laugh
the
at
one
it.
telling us that it wasn't funny.
Yeah, you've kind of just proved our point there. Wib.
Yeah, you proved
But
our
anyway,
point.
moving on. So, Wib, your favourite model in your army is akin to your favourite dog in that it's the most recent one you've seen.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good.
God, I love
Lefty
dogs.
is my answer because Lefty is
Lefty is
everything.
amazing. Lefty is a treasure.
Seamus, so last time he asked about my favourite monster to run, and he said, I honestly thought you'd mentioned the Spectator, and I'd forgotten about the Spectator.
Guarding the room.
Guarding the Room Spectator, who'd gone a bit weird guarding the room.
So it
was
just
quite good
kept
fun.
singing in its brain in deep speech, guarding the room over and over again.
was the best. Snipe,
Yeah.
as the soon-to-be custodian of Bumblefucks, also known as the DM,
Yes. Okay.
your
I like
thoughts on monstrous player characters?
that. Monstrous.
So
kind of-
players playing as monstrous creatures rather than the standard.
I think that's
like,
kind of cool.
human elf,
I
whatever.
think. I mean, we don't really. I mean, we have a Kenku in our new campaign because Wib is a burb.
I'm a bird.
You're a bird. Yes, you are, honey. But yeah, it's like, otherwise, like monstrous creatures. Like, I mean, I think that's pretty cool, provided the setting calls for it. Or maybe like it's a thing where you don't see that kind of like you don't see a monster walking around. I think it could be quite fun.
I will say
A
there
lot of
is
things you can do with
one issue if you play them straight up how the rules tell you to, though.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And that's the alignment issue.
I hate the alignment issue.
Um,
Apparently, so did the police. It's the D&D police coming to tell us to fuck off.
because I when I was looking through, because it's what's it called? Volo's Guide to Monsters. That's the one. Which is where Kenku's come from. I was looking through that, and that has rules to play like orcs and things, just straight full orcs.
Yeah, but like orcs are apparently born evil.
Yeah, like they are straight evil. Like whatever you do, you have to run them as evil because that's just what they are.
I think, like, I mean, if you want to do that in a game, that's fine. But I would say, I mean, especially because I'm quite I'm a baby DM, so I don't really want to have to deal with the intricacies of dealing with an evil aligned character. So I've just said, guys, can we not do it? And everyone's been really wonderful and gone, sure, that's fine.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd unless you were playing a whole party of evil characters. I don't think I'd ever want to play an evil character.
that can be fun. As like we did that as a one shot, and it's quite good fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, except for extenuating circumstances, I would not feel comfortable with role playing or like running a dungeon or a game with one evil player in the party because it just seems a bit. like I don't feel like I'm experienced enough to be able to make that work, and I think it might be difficult for the group to make that work.
Yeah, it's like, why would the group stay together at that point, probably?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless one of the players is evil but doesn't let on, so he just acts as if they're good. But then they secretly try to do something could be interesting.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing where they'd have to hide their alignment from everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to kind of like alignments bred into like monster classes or monster races rather, like the whole every orc is evil, I think that's kind of boring. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't even realise that was a thing, because it's so flexible and your character can be whatever you want, basically.
Exactly. So it's like, I wouldn't like, I mean, we have a half orc in ours, and like she's not evil, you know. I know she's a half orc. But...
Well, you know, half orcs can be.
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
So.
But like her, like presumably one of her parents isn't evil, you know. So it's like, I don't know. I like. If you want to run an evil orc, that's fine. If you want it for simplicity, kind of go, yeah, all of these monstrous creatures are evil. I don't like that, because it's like that's like saying literally every cat is a bastard, which I might say is a joke, but that's not true.
It's generally true, but not exclusively true.
Exactly. Like, you know, you can get some really badass, really chill, loving cats, and that's the same. I see the same as like orcs. It's like I don't see it as binary. I see it as there is nuance in everything, because it just makes more sense to me like that, and that's the kind of game I want to run.
I mean, I see like a lot of things like that. Like if you just want to run,
That's like if you want to do that, then
Yeah,
go
yeah.
for it.
But
It's
if-
just not something I'm really interested in.
if you want to have an orc that's just good, I don't see there's not a particularly good reason to not have that,
it's like-
because
I mean,
it
I
just
still
it
have
suggests
it-
that morality is this like in stone thing, like defined by your race, which is fucked up. Like,
Well, I mean,
as,
if we're
as even
talking,
a thought,
I
like-
think it's not meant like
yeah,
that.
but even as a game mechanic, it still portrays a very fucked up morality internally in that universe.
No, yeah, this is true. I mean, like if I was, we had characters like an orc or whatever, I'd be like, I'd have people kind of a bit like, oh, okay, you don't often see orc adventurers.
Having people-
it'd be a kind of an odd occurrence, but
Having people react to them as if they are evil, I think you could have a
you
really
could do
interesting
that.
character based around
Yeah.
that. Certainly, personally, I don't know if it's just to do with that. I mean, obviously, like the ability to play those has been present in many editions.
I think Pathfinder had like huge amounts of like you could play minotaurs and stuff like that.
Possibly, I don't know anything about Pathfinder, to be honest.
Yeah, well, the example ones here when it says monsters player characters are Centaur, Minotaur, Kobold, Orc, etc.
Yeah.
So
Because
presumably you can play as all of those in Arm Edition.
I would think so.
yeah. In like I'm pretty sure most of those are in the Volo's thing. I don't know if Volo's guide is just badly written, because like honestly, like it has shit like that, and the Kenku stuff is like terrible. Like
Well, yeah.
it's like not from like it's poorly written, like it's written in crayon or like it's like
It's
grammatical errors all over the place.
Spelling mistakes.
But just in terms of the how you actually implement them in a game sense, like mechanically, is just really like you read it and you go, like doing a Kenku is like
you got
this
to
is-
make voices. You
this-
got to do the beep beeps.
this is an idea written down by someone who's only thought of them about as an NPC and has never thought how you would play this as a 3-dimensional character.
Yeah.
So you have to house rule how they work to make them function.
I mean, this is the thing. I don't think there's anyone out there who plays D&D without at least one house rule.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I think for our games, like, well, my game that I want to run, it's going to be like, yeah, no. I think, like, those kind of guides of how to play a thing, it's like, that's a good rule of thumb if you want to follow it. Of course, I'm not going to be like, hey, yeah, you can just speak common fine and everything. It's just, I'm still going to let you talk probably more than a bunch of other people would, because your character has been about for a while, and there's no reason that they couldn't just piece together a coherent sentence, but with different people's voices, which I think is really rad. But again, someone might be horrified at that idea. But yeah, to summarize, I'd be okay with it as long as they wouldn't mind not being evil.
Basically, if you want to run them, that's cool. Just be prepared to house rule it, because the default rules are bullshit.
Yeah, really.
All right.
Matt, what about you, being the DM?
Me? Yeah, I think basically they say I think player characters like you said, if you're doing an ongoing campaign, I think being not evil is pretty good, or at least not outwardly evil.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could be secretly evil, and that could be an interesting plot twist, but that plot twist would probably end the game whenever you decide to
Yeah, your characters
will go on with it. You'll have some sort of big resolution, and then basically you're not going to be playing in that campaign as that character. So either the character wins whatever it's doing, or the rest of the party does. But then, that's going to be the end of that campaign, or at least the end of that character.
Yeah.
Or I guess if that character wins, the end of the rest of the party. In which case, it'll be the end of that character as well, because you'll have to start all over again with new.
Also, see if anyone wants to play with you after you've double-crossed them the entire game and then killed all their characters.
Depends how it's done. I think it could be really cool.
That's
but
the thing.
Also, there's a big chance that it would just be the worst. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to be really careful, and it obviously depend on who you're playing with, and yeah. In terms of playing as them, if you're playing a good aligned or even like a neutral aligned or whatever, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, same.
I think there's something about it that, like, when I first heard that. So yeah, these our new campaign, we've got a Kenku and a half orc, and I'm going to be playing a gnome. I was a little bit like, oh, we're all playing slightly weird, like, races.
I like it.
Gnome being the least
No one's a
weird
human.
of them. But no one's a human, no one's an elf, no one's a dwarf. It's just like, oh, that's going to be interesting. And for the first time I heard it, I was just like, oh, okay. But then I'm just like, actually, yeah, that why not? That's cool.
I like it because it's quite different. Everyone's gone for like a different angle and kind of gone a different way, especially because, having like played a certain character in your campaign for a while, people can be like, I love my character, but what if I was a bird?
That is literally what I did.
Yeah, that's literally what you did. So that kind of. So I like
yeah,
it.
no,
How
I think if people want to
yeah.
run as a character, as long as I think it's more important that the rest of your party is cool with it rather than your DM.
Definitely.
And obviously your DM has to be not against it, but to the DM, because they're just trying to tell the story of the players, it's kind of the DM's job to deal with that if the players want to be a weird. Obviously there's limits to it, but within reason. Whereas you're going to affect the enjoyment of your other party members or your other players more than you'll affect the enjoyment of the DM.
Yeah. So you got to pay
by
attention
doing
to the group
something
dynamic
weird.
as well.
So yeah, I think it's more you need to check with your. I think it all comes back to have a session 0. Just have a chat about what your ideas for the campaign are, and everyone together, and make sure you're all on the same page.
Yep.
And as long as you are, cool, go for it. Next question from Seamus, Mr. Delicious. I've got a would you rather now. So would you rather live in a place without snipe and whip, or without any form of brown sauce?
Yeah, Mr. Delicious. What's your answer?
I mean,
don't you technically live somewhere right now where you don't have us or brown sauce?
So
I'm literally talking to you on Skype, and I have 2 bottles of brown sauce in the fridge.
Oh.
So
you put them in
I have
the
both.
fridge?
You keep brown sauce in the fridge, obviously.
Wow. I thought I knew you, man.
Well, because if you don't, and you only get to use it occasionally because you're rationing it, it goes off.
Okay. I mean, considering you guys get like 50 billion degree heat waves, so yeah, no, that makes sense. Carry on.
Yeah, no, condiments in the fridge. Mm-hmm. Ketchup,
put condoms
fridge.
in the fridge.
Condoms, fridge. Fucking, we have to keep fruit in the fridge, because if you leave it in a fruit bowl over summer, it just melts.
Mm-hmm. So you got to keep your condoms in the fridge as well.
No, obviously, I would go without brown sauce. Obviously.
Oh, bless you.
I mean, if you ask him, like,
I wouldn't enjoy it, and I'd make you feel guilty as fuck about it.
Okay, dude. Okay. Let me give you an angle here. Say you've decided to live in a world without brown sauce, just so you have us as your bestest, wonderful friends.
I can't use you as brown sauce. Because I don't want your special brown sauce.
No. But then you can invent brown sauce and basically become a billionaire and have as much brown sauce as you want.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure in this universe I would. Oh, I guess I just inherently know about it.
Yeah, you would be like the only one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
And then you could invent it, and then be like super money man genius.
Oh, there's a PS to this as well, in case the topic got a bit too dark.
Okay.
Being the caveat of being Snipe and Whip can exist, but they're just chilling out on Oh My Goodness, surrounded by big fluffy boys.
Can we do that anyway? No, Matt, come visit.
Go to a faraway planet and just have dogs.
Yeah. That sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, but then... Yeah.
You can come visit.
Yeah, you can come with us. We live on, oh my goodness, we live in the brown sauce sector. We don't know what it is.
Don't live in the brown sauce sector. Fuck that.
Tainted
All
by
right,
war.
moving on. Leon, you've got a couple of waifus and husbandos.
Hit me.
Waifu, the Lumberfoot girl herself, Carillion from Vermintide.
10 out of 10. I love me a sharp-tongued woman. That sounded really bad.
She's not too sharp, just a little bit sharp.
She's all right.
I think she's rad, and I like how she's has black eyes. That's super cool.
Yeah, she's cool. I give 7 out of 10, but no, not super high. But
7
she's
out of
alright.
10. Like they'd kill you for that on the internet.
Well, yeah, because no one understands
7 out of
what.
10 is a terrible 0 out of 10 score.
Yeah, obviously.
Ugh.
Whereas 10 out of 10 is basically it's fine.
What would you go with, Matt?
I've still not got around to playing Vermintide.
Make me sick.
She sounds cool.
She's like a super snarky elf. I really like her. She's cool.
Yeah, that sounds great. What's the Lumberfoot reference?
Oh,
Does she
Lumberfoot
just shout
is in
Lumberfoot?
reference to like humans, and I think basically anyone who isn't an elf. So they're like really heavy-footed and just
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
they're basically
Awesome.
very bad.
All right, husbandos. Yeah, so I don't have an answer. I don't know. Probably good.
Probably good out
I'll
of
play
10.
at some point. Probably good out of 10. Husbandos. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Alucard. Alucard from Helsing.
It's Dracula backwards.
Dracula. Oh yeah,
Dr. Acula? Hello?
Dr. Acula. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have literally never ever seen Helsing.
I've never seen Helsing, but I am going to rate Hugh Jackman, the man who was Van Helsing, as a 10 out of 10.
Okay, if we're going by the Van Helsing from the movie Van Helsing, then
Yeah,
yes.
that's
or,
in canon. That's the live action anime, like that's the
Or
adaptation.
alternately, the Van Helsing from the Hammer horror films, which I believe was played by Peter Cushing.
Then
So he
10 out
also
of
gets
10.
10 out of 10.
Ultimate husband.
Okay, so sounds like he's probably going to get a 10 out of 10.
The one from the anime, going
Probably
solely
is like a super anime.
going solely from the images of him, I associate him so much with a certain era of anime that I really am not the hugest
I
fan of.
associate
So
him with like anime, like a very very specific minority of anime fans from that area, which makes me want to give him a fucking minus score. The people who I knew who were into Helsing were fucked.
So I don't want to rate them because that would be I would really be rating the fans of Van Helsing that I've personally encountered who
Who
were
have
annoying.
maybe not been the best people.
So
So I'm gonna rate Hugh Jackman as 10 out of 10.
and Peter Cushing was 10 out
Completely
of 10.
agreed.
Yeah, no. But
Did you see he did a post on the Instagram recently, and he was just like, you know when everyone tells you that you're not looking your age, and then you see a photo of yourself sleeping? Yeah, that happened. And he just posted a picture of him sleeping, and yeah, like he looks great in every photo, but this photo of him sleeping was not flattering.
oh shit.
And I just love the fact that he posted it, like it wasn't someone else. It was just like, yeah, guys, like you all might be jealous of me, but really you're not.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
yeah,
love
well
the
done,
idea
you.
of like, you think I'm super pretty, but I'm as fucking ugly as everyone else, don't worry.
I look like a deflated testicle. Fuck you.
Yeah, he's the best.
I'm still rating him 10 out of 10 just because he's such a jolly
Oh yeah,
boy.
no, totally. Yeah, no, that pushes it up to an 11 out of 10.
Oh,
if anything.
absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. Like looks aren't that.
I mean, I
important.
appreciate this isn't the question we're being asked,
No,
but Hugh
but-
Jackman deserves praise.
He's
Hugh
a
Jackman
huge,
needs to call us.
He's a huge jacked man.
And I love
He is a
huge
huge
jacked
jacked man.
man. That's the thing. It's like he is such a ray of fucking sunshine.
Yeah.
He's such a lovely boy. And he's hideous when he's sleeping, which
According
makes
to
me love
himself.
him more.
We've got a final backup husbando as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm again going to pronounce all of these words wrong. Jago Sevatarian.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but that sounds like autocorrect didn't save you.
That's the dude from the Night
sounds-
Horror, from the Night Lords.
It
books,
looks
isn't
like his quote is, he makes a lot of corpses,
Um,
or something. I know not of this.
how do you spell Sever? The last name.
Sevatarian. But his nickname is Sevatar with an E instead of an A, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's yeah. I have
Jago
never.
Sevatarian.
I have never read the Night Lords books. I hear they are quite good.
I too have not.
He has a cool model, so I can rate his model or the artwork that Disharmonia
Yeah,
has
I was
made.
about to say, like, Disharmonia has done some beautiful art. But, I mean, if his, like, catchphrase is, like, he's the one who makes corpses, then I think he's a fucking edgelord, and he should go back to playing Shadow the Hedgehog on Xbox.
He can't help it, he's a Night Lord, they're all edgelords.
I know!
But he does have a very cool model, so I'm going to rate his model, which I would rate as a 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna rate that, it's because it's a little
a little
bit over
busy.
the top. A little busy, so I'm gonna give him, like, a solid 6. 6. Because he's a fucking edgelord.
Because he's a
Yeah, we-
edgelord,
No, I'm just
yeah.
gonna give him 6, he can fuck off with the other 2.
I hear the books are quite good.
yeah.
They're Arendonsky Bowden books, so,
Oh,
you know,
they're gonna be amazing.
They're probably quite good.
Yeah.
Okay, last up, this isn't a question, but it's something I thought you'd like to hear.
Okay.
JT Monkey
Hello.
just bought Overwatch and completely understands Snipe's hatred for Hanzo. He is a banana bread eating asshole.
He is, isn't he? Oh yeah, JT Monkey knows what's up. He eats all the banana bread, and he's a fucking chode. Not JT Monkey Hanzo. Because JT Monkey is now my new best friend forever.
So yeah, not a question, but I thought you needed to know.
I needed,
Okay.
thank you. I needed to hear that sane voice crying out to me from the
You
murk.
needed that confirmation that
I did.
you did.
I did.
Good.
Thank you.
And that's the end of them.
Okay.
We ended on such a high.
Yeah, I thought we'd end on a good one.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Was that your back cracking?
Yes, it was.
Oh my fuck, really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
I'm old.
Can you feel
That's-
your legs
that's
if
not
I do
great.
that? Can you feel
It's
it?
fine.
Can you feel that if I scratch your legs with my huge claws?
Ow.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I was convinced that you just lost the use of your legs by snapping your own
move my
spine
legs,
into.
It's fine.
Okay, for now.
Let us say goodbye.
Okay,
Do you
let's
wish
say
to start
goodbye.
off the goodbye?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Well, I'm really good at saying
You
goodbye.
start saying the goodbye then.
I'm really good at it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Okay, I just want to make sure. Look, hold on to your butts because they will be blown the fuck off your torsos, and like two deliciously slightly fuzzy meatballs just in a hurricane.
Why though?
See, I was not intending that little section to actually end up in the podcast, but I kind of feel it has to now. That was just me asking, like, off camera, as it were. But I feel that people have to witness what I have to deal with.
Wow. I mean, I completely sympathise with you, and I wish that this didn't happen to you and everything. But wow.
Say goodbye to the lovely people.
Okay, thank you for joining us, everybody, and I hope your delicious meatball butts stay attached to your torsos. I've been Snipe, he's been Wib, and he's been Drummer Matt. Bye!
Goodbye.
Goodbye.